Alright, we march.
March. What's that? Someone made a cross in the middle of my darkness. Don't do that, people.
What? How?
There we go.
There's a cross in my darkness.
Yeah. Good. And so you march upon the capital.
Indeed.
Banners held high. And I suppose all in your real form, or...
Yeah.
Not Zacharias. And not Marcus either. He's gonna appear human.
He has his veil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chiron will be Chiron, and I guess Jerophon will follow the march as well, because, you know...
He'll fly in the air of a black
You
dragon.
should ride on Jerophon. just saying.
No, he did well. He deserves to have some dignity.
Zacharias floating over the ground like Magneto, like he usually does.
The heavy cavalry and heavily armored footmen marching in rank and file, while the rebels sort of march in groups.
Did the Hellhounds do well?
They did. They were out all night.
Casual ride on Horus. I have Chloe on her shoulder.
Like he rides with the Scion. Unless he's a right hand.
Sure.
You basically ride towards the city. After the few days, you as the army approaches the city, of course, moving as slow as an army does, having all the logistics and wagons and such with it. Towards the city, you see a small group basically moving out towards you.
Juicy.
Alright, yes. We will move towards the group as well. Probably some sort of...
It's the princess. Roll initiative.
That'd be a surprise. That's probably some diplomatic envoy thing, being like, "Oh God, help!" Yes, we will ride up. I guess it's us, Berith. Berith? No, I need to type down his name.
Barithon? Barithol?
Berithor,
Ex-Havelin?
ex Darth Havelin.
It's Berithor.
Berithor.
Not that hard.
It's close to Jerophor and all the other names we've met. Are we supposed to be able to see something? Oh.
No, not yet. Well, the map of the city.
Yeah, it's gonna be us
But,
and Berithor, basically. Meeting these people.
First, a moment though. I need to find my tokens.
In the meantime, it's the damn Chocobo song playing right now.
Certainly a good party song.
That's what it sounds like when we ride towards the city.
Yes.
Where? That.
Yeah, the bark sound.
You know, my parents had a parrot, and one day it was just running around on the table following a nut, and then I played that song while he was running around.
Sure.
The funny thing is when the parrot just looks at me like, what? You've never seen a parrot chase a nut?
Don't judge me.
Yeah.
I don't have hands.
Yeah. Don't have
How
a
do
My
opposable
ancestors were
thumbs.
dinosaurs, damn it.
It's tough to pick up this nut.
I don't have opposable thumbs, damn it.
Oh, yeah.
Better than this.
It was still funny. I should have filmed it, but I can't film and play the Chocobo song at the same time.
If this was the one. I'll just make a new one.
Can put on Hell March now from Red Alert.
I'll just listen to the Chocobo song.
No.
It's amazing.
We're doing this Marcus style, just humming something weird, upbeat as he walks into battle.
That's no when something weird comes out of me. It's not Cashing. It's Chloe.
Oh,
Well,
sure.
there are a group of people basically riding to meet you. They all have horses. They are basically accompanied by what seems to be guards in some half plate, carrying the colors of the Barkan local families.
Nice.
And indeed a sigil of a griffin on their sort of shields. Appear indeed to be some sort of heavy cavalry, although from a distance even their weapons and such seems a bit old, probably handed down
Sure.
for generations. There seems to be a rather plump man in very fine green sort of colors as well, who seems to have small glasses and a very so he certainly is very plump. He seems to be a man doing well for himself.
Oh. Well, isn't that nice?
Yeah. Then a rather jubilant man, black hair and rather bald. Really a lot of issue with him. And then a dwarf is right in there as well. Yeah. And with them, of course, is Lothan Barker.
Good old Barker.
Did you lose their tokens?
One of them. Barker might look different than he did before. I think this was the one.
That is a really fat dude. Is that Jabba the
Yes,
Hutt
he
in disguise?
He looks like the guy from Family Guy,
Peter Griffin.
Peter Griffin.
Yeah.
I can show you a few larger pictures if you're interested.
Hubert Rowan.
Sure.
Master Mallory Hawthorne. Leothin Barker. Yeah, we know him. Gaius Richter.
This guy. Zacharias might remember that he used the name Richter before.
In what context?
Well, the man who ran Brandiskar was called.
Oh! Oh! Was he now?
Yes, he was very old though. This guy seems a bit younger.
Oh, so this is...
Too bad.
yeah, that would have been fun otherwise.
It would have been so much fun.
We owe him so much.
Well, we have quite a complaint. It was a terrible place.
Yeah, well, we got out of it.
Yeah, but he could have done more for us in there.
We have-
At least
we
given
have-
us a pillow.
Those two.
That left dude is... that is hideous. Jesus, he is malformed.
He has the very nicest horse. Clearly a perfectly trained battle horse with a shining barding on it. As they ride towards you, the banner of the city, the star with the crown, basically. Also the banner of Telengard raised above them.
Do you want us to copy our
Sure.
tokens? I didn't. I'll go get them.
It's sort of in the back.
Oh, okay, I'll get them. I'll get my token. Well, Cash has a nice mount too. Boom.
Show off.
You like my mount, motherfucker? How do you like me now?
I think Hablin should be in the middle because he's kind of the scion. If we're like putting up the pretense and stuff. Which we should try at least a little bit, I think.
Guys, not trying to show off that much.
No, surrounded by shadow drakes atop her hellhound.
Yeah.
Only one shadow drake.
Yeah.
Only
Yes,
one.
they come towards you. The dwarf sort of starts saying, "Hail, saviors of Matherin! I am Mayor Hubert Rowan. We presume you come to our fair city to, in peace." Just sort of bow, stepping out from his horse.
Leroy's looks over to him.
Lothin sort of steps up with his next to Hubert and sort of whacks him over the head with his cane. "Stand up, Hubert! You damned fool! Any army that could break the fire axe could take Matherin in a heartbeat." He sort of looks to you and says, "What we want to know is what can we do for you?"
Leroy smiles.
Should we let the...
As Richter bows deeply, while Mallory sort of giggles.
Giggles? Oh.
He's playing with a gold ring.
Before you, gentlemen, stands the heroes who have vanquished the horde of the Fire Axe and finally are able to bring peace to this fair island. My name is Zacharias Wraith. These are my trusted companions. Motions to, everyone in a party, basically. Lady Cash, Chiron, Lictor Marcus, and Cardinal Sirius. Moves to stand there. And before you all stands the scion of House Darius. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
So, forward. As I am the scion of House Darius and the savior of Matherin. You will know me as Sir Ricard Haviland. Bows. Luthen sort of seems a little surprised as Richter sort of smile broadens, and Mayor Hubert seems a little bit at ease as well, even though he's leering at the Hellhound.
Who doesn't like the Hellhound?
The dwarf.
But he doesn't mind the drow.
I think the Hellhound kind of steals the thunder a bit.
Or fire. It also wants to eat him. He knows.
Of course it does.
Isn't that true, Horace? Yes.
You know, if it's menacing for him, Cash will send Horace to his brother.
Then come with me and march into the city.
Oh.
We welcome your aid.
Good.
Sort of moves to the others. We are here representing it as the last surviving members of the Council of the King.
That's cute.
Good, good. We shall rely upon your expertise in the coming days and weeks then to help us in the administrative duties.
So, Richter says, well, it seems that there has been no question then. Should we move forward with the coronation?
We shall, yes.
Lothin says, I don't think that'll be quite necessary yet. After all, don't we have another candidate here in front of us? Richter looks and says, I suppose. However, he would not be next in line. Marcus sort of shrugs and says, neither were the Mithrans or the Darians when they took over. He sort of looks at you and says, so you do wish to present Lord Haviland? Do you desire the crown of Telgard? We would have crowned the dear princess in absentia.
The princess has fled, and she's nowhere to be seen. She was not the one who's to save Mathrin and the kingdom from the fire axe. It was us. Where we braved the horde on the battlefield, bled and died for all of you, she are either dead or hides in a hole in the ground somewhere. She is nothing.
I suppose that's true. Very well, then I see no other person. You did just destroy the Fire Axe's horde.
Down to the last bugbear. I doubt there will be any more raids from any of those creatures for, well, decades perhaps.
Very well then. He steps forward and sort of has the key. This is the key to the city. Takes it. We invite you to come and join us. And if you will, lead us. We are without leadership.
Excellent.
Berthel just takes the key in a black gloved hand. Raises it up, looks at it, sort of just holds it awkwardly. So the dwarf steps back. Barca seeming quite annoyed at him. As he turns around, the Griffin Knights seem to follow him as the others sort of trudge a little bit behind. She right ahead and says, "My lords, give me 20 minutes. Enter the city when the bells ring."
Zacharias nods. And then he will turn around to whatever sergeant or whatever is like behind them and call out that the army should rank up. Parade mode on, basically. Hope you have polished your damn armor.
We
Otherwise,
could just take the what's his face's men into the city because they are disciplined and not the entire rebel.
we certainly could. Would make a greater show for it. Camp most of the we could camp most of the army outside and ride in with Eisenmark and.
Yeah, I agree.
Hear bells ringing in the city
All right.
around the many churches.
Then we ride into the city. Hablin at front, then us, and then Eisenmark in basically parade mode behind us.
There are many people who've come out to cheer, seemingly standing sort of lined up by the road, basically leading you towards the old Barkin Palace.
Wonderful.
Where they stand. So cheering, although some remain sort of quiet, just with their mouths closed, looking at you. And then suddenly one of them screams and is thrown into the air as a Iranese basically drags him up to a pole, begins ripping his skin off while binding him there.
What?
Blood raining down upon them all.
Okay, wait, what?
You see the black dragon of Jerathon fly over the city, letting out a roar as people look up, scared. Berthol just looking upon them with a type of disdain as he rides along. The crowds go sort of very quiet. Many people sort of hushedly begin to leave and run, but those who run seem to be dragged into alleyways by invisible beings. Just gurgled screams coming out. Most people choosing to stay and look, but this time sort of in stunned silence, very much.
What happened with the person got skin got? What happened there?
It's Theodora.
Oh,
It's Theodora.
Somewhere someone cuts down a church bell,
Yes.
falls from the tower, making eerie sound as it smashes against the bricks of the road. Around the other areas in town, it seems that people are still celebrating. Surely, however, that will not last long, as the devils are drawn to where the merriment is the strongest. The dragon also seeming to waken up a few people.
Good, good.
The dwarf in front of you, well, when you come to the palace, seems completely like aghast. And none of the others seem particularly pleased as you're invited into the old palace. Giving quarters. Here, it seems to be Lothin Barker who invites you in, and seemingly having already taken some possession of the place.
That is fine.
She offers you the finest guest quarters and perhaps a meal.
Yeah, so
My lords are hungry. As the bells ring and the children with the flower petals don't throw them, but instead hovel and hide in little alcoves where they can, as people run around confused and scared, now knowing that there's something worse among them than bugbears.
Oh, don't mind that. It's gonna last for a day, tops. Yes. Yeah, yeah, I mean, we gave the devils a day to rampage. That'll be enough. The people will know will know the point after that, and only our benevolent rule will keep the devils at bay. Yes.
Would you stay in the palace for the rest of the day, or?
Cash will.
The council sort of gathered there. They don't seem to have any interest in going outside right now. Well, Mallory seems to be a little distracted by something or other. Richter certainly has paled a bit, but seems to be very much on the polite side. While Hubert is just sort of mumbling and looking out the window, sort of shuddering whenever a scream is heard. Lothin sort of looks out over the city. A little regretful, it seems, but that seems to be all.
Yeah, I think we'll talk a little bit with the council, maybe.
Sure. We'll have a dinner table, certainly.
This is
If you
going to be.
wish.
I'm gonna eat Bearthor.
You're gonna eat Barathor?
He's sitting on the table.
Oh no, I'm just gonna see the high chair.
In the high chair.
Yes. As you understand, there is
Hey!
my dinner. Of souls.
Oh!
Hello.
Oh my.
If we're having a council meeting, can you squeeze Jaraphon in here?
Peeks in through the window.
Jarathon
Hello?
currently is flying around the top of the city, probably just screaming and probably eating some of the animals that are stashed outside.
Kyron wants him to be present during these meetings. if
Kyron can
possible.
go out and yell for him.
Sure.
Really, do you want
Yeah.
Jaraphon in here?
Yes. He needs to learn politics.
Land on the sprue acid at some nearby house and then crawl in through the gate.
Hello.
Kyron will just tell him to sit in a corner and observe.
Oh. Stand behind here, basically looking at whoever Kyron is looking at, and seeming to be the dwarf in front of him just sort of pales and sort of moves a little bit down in his seat. As Mallory just sort of marvels at it, clearly thinking about what sort of leather he could make from it. Rick just sort of locks his jaw, but then smiles jubilantly to Jarathon as Lothin seems again a little bit taken aback, but he goes with it.
Yes. As you can see, gentlemen, there is going to be a great deal of change with the new regime.
But before a regime can be made, we will have to have a coronation.
Of course, of course. He looks at them. Is there any problems anticipated with said coronation?
Sorry?
Is there any problems?
Well, as it happens, we are lacking a crown. And as it happens, we have to decide what sort of coronation we want. The Darians were, well, always rather timid, since the coronations they have been rather just awkward affairs. Brothers and such.
Nods.
The Balkans, however, had a tradition of feasts, week-long festivals, whenever a coronation took place, to mark the beginning of the golden age of the next king. A bit of money might be needed, even if I, myself, will offer a bit of aid in this respect. A Balkan tradition and all.
That sounds fair enough. Sakura sort of, looks over his shoulder out over the screaming city, and he says, "The screams should stop at sunrise. Yes, it is currently to reward some allies and to make a point."
Certainly ruthlessness has come through.
Good, good. It will be quite simple, really, gentlemen. You will serve on the council, and you will serve us, serve well, and there will be rewards. Work against us, or do shoddy, basically, perform bad, and all the pains of hell will be visited upon you. It is quite simple. We reward those who help us and perform good service, and we destroy those who oppose us. It is actually quite that simple.
Hubert looks and says, I won't oppose you. Mallory sort of smiles and says, I suppose, then, if you don't mind, my lord, I would very much like to stay the master of coin.
Of course, yes.
Says, I have certain gifts with it.
Can we get Yarathon to glare at him all the time?
I think we should all glare at him.
Richter sort of smiles and says, and I will be at your service in everything, my lords. I have no reason to dislike this change. It might be good for everything.
Sakurai looks at him. Richter, that name rings a bell. Something we do with Brandescott Prison, I believe.
The Frown says, yes, my family's greatest shame.
How does it...
Some thugs escaped from there with my useless uncle in charge. Spent the whole budget on some magic things. He sort of strikes his, but he need to trouble me no more, luckily.
Cash raises an eyebrow and says, "Fox, really?"
Sakurai just smiles and nods. So, so he is dead then?
Jones is as good as, yes.
Very well.
I sent him to the mainland.
Oh.
He need not bother me any longer, and, well, we can have not that stain on us. Smiles.
Excellent.
What is happened with the prison?
Under new management, nothing much important. You see, we have had a lot to deal with these recent times. Capital punishment has become a lot more useful now than it was.
Is any of them giving Cash weird looks since there's a...
Only Hubert, but he seems too scared to really look at her.
Like we have this like mountain of a knight in like black armor, just oozing menace. We have an orc, like with like a whole trappings of everything.
Mallory seems completely to ignore what you are, mostly looking at the things you have.
Oh, sure. He has the eyes on the prize. I can respect that.
Valerie...
I suppose, then, with these introductions, we should get right to the point. I take it you are going to be the, our Majesty's advisors.
Yes, quite so. We will be the innermost circle around his future Majesty's Sir Havelin. Yes.
Barker nods. Then, first on the agenda, sort of is interrupted by a scream loudly echoing from outside. First on the agenda, then, is how we wish to make the coronation happen. We could do it now if need be, or that would be completely untraditional. Some would call it invalid. Generally, the cardinal of the High Church would be the one to crown, but I feel like he might be occupied. He looks out of the window again.
The cardinal flies by.
I suppose we'll have to make some arrangement. Because we need a crown. The old one is no longer here.
What happened to the old one?
It was taken, I believe.
Yes, I wonder who.
Did you? Okay, out of character. Do you still have it?
It has been broken down and sold off at some point, probably.
You did?
I think so.
Yeah, the crown was sold as parts in the gold district of...
Oh, yes, that's right. We broke it down and sold it in Gaston's Gold District.
Why did you do that?
We wanted the money.
Yeah, we wanted
It was
the
worth
money.
a lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah, we put it in the loot pile. It was like, should we split the loot pile? And I just posted it, I think, and no one really said anything. So we said, all right, let's just split that. Luckily, we have a crown.
Yeah,
I'm not giving you my
can-
crown.
Says, there is a little bit I could scrape together from the current state of affairs. But I could get about 50,000 gold pieces for the treasury. Without much effort. If we spent that much on the coronation, I'm sure it would be a grand affair. None says that would certainly pay for quite the festival, especially with the donation I plan to give. Could, of course, just make it a modest affair. However, that might not give us the... she looked out the window. The change of mood we might be looking for.
I think a grand affair is quite excellent. We want to show the people that those who oppose outside, but those who work together with us will get greatly rewarded. Zachariah sort of looks over to some of the other party members.
I do agree. We have to make this a grand affair. This is not supposed to be all bad for those who just, do as they are told.
We will make it the grand affair, then. It is decided.
Yeah.
Evelyn commands. As my coronation shall happen soon, we shall have a week of festivals. I shall be crowned in the Church of Asmodeus, I think. Rita sort of seems aghast. Hubert sort of stares, and even Mallory sort of loses his glasses for a bit and fiddles with them.
And luckily we have the cardinal of said church here with us at the council table, do we not?
Katie looks at them.
I imagine that Asurius grins at this point.
Yeah, he probably does. Cash looks at them as in, with everything you've seen, that is what makes you gasp.
I don't mind, really. It's just the possibilities now. He sort of seems to grin. There's so many changes we could make. Well, Hubert says nothing. He's just pale. And Victor just says, it's simply... I did not expect that to be the change so quickly.
Cash looks to Barker.
He just looks neutral currently.
He's
Berithal looks and says, if there is no objections to that, then I suppose we should talk about policy. That seems to be what we should get about. There's quite a lot of things that might be changed in this kingdom. What is the current state? Michael looks up and says, militarily, we have almost nothing. However, now I suppose we have whatever you brought.
Yes, we have quite the competent mercenary force led by Eisenmark. And we have roughly 20,000 or so mercenaries. Mostly of them are scraped together thugs, more or less. But they can certainly fight and kill. And they can be incorporated into the new standing army. They have... I would suggest we use many of them to repopulate some of the areas and villages. Give them both new bodies to work the fields, as well as a place to stay and call their own.
And now I think we've got to the point where we shift to the meta a little bit and talk about how is this going to work.
Yes, Tell
Because
me.
it seems like
Zoom
you will be
out.
ruling a thing for a little bit.
Ruining a thing?
What?
Yes, yes.
What?
Ruling a thing,
Thank you.
I would say. If I weren't on the others, I mean,
Um,
yeah. Let's see here. We have a map. Because the kingdom will, as it is, have different things you can do, different changes you can do. With it, there will be basically the turns will be monthly. However, each change might take more than 1 month to complete. Finishing one change, for example, say we want to hunt or kill all chickens, might take 3 months to do. If you just do that, it'll be finished in 3 months then. If you want to initiate more than one, their times will be added together and then they will finish at the same time. This means that there's basically no benefit to not finishing one thing at a time unless you really, really can't decide.
sure.
Yeah. The kingdom has a Mallory will inform you that the current income of the kingdom is about 10,000 gold pieces per month.
All right.
That is after expenses.
Mm-hmm.
However, he will also say that he has many plans for how to improve this. Basically, all of them here seem to have certain plans and ideas for how this policy should be brought in the first term of the new rule once that is taken over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sure, you can find some things yourselves as well, but surely talking about policy is something you can get behind.
Certainly.
Any questions about how that's going to work?
No, we pick one policy at a time, basically. How long are these periods? Did you say?
At least a month.
Okay, minimum a month.
So there'll be a lot of downtime in it.
Alright.
Because you will
good.
not have to do it yourselves. Of course, your
Downtime,
organizations
that's
can do stuff still.
ridiculous. Downtime, that's ridiculous.
Preposterous.
But they all seem to have ideas and are willing to pipe up, really.
Sure.
Beritor will allow you to hear them out if you wish. Where do you want to hear first? Because they will. They seem to all have ideas for what to do. We have
Well-
a Hubert who seems to be very, yeah.
It's like
Timid right now.
So
He just had the worst day of his
Like I
life.
said, it leans forward, since I believe our next move after the coronation should be to cement our power. We need legitimacy. We need to root out all our enemies in a ruthless manner. Sure smiles. They are still here among us. I'm sure there are still many in the city itself who would rather not have us. Well, this is as such. The first thing we should do would be to gain legitimacy with the old nobility. They are powerful and have many connections. Says, after that, perhaps focusing on destroying the remnants of the Knights of Valerian would be good. Perhaps even killing whatever remains of the Darien dynasty. Their heirs around. Rick just sort of gasps and looks at him. Berithor sort of looks at him as well and frowns slightly. He looks it up and says, no offense, but I would not have pretenders. We've seen enough war. Ashik just sort of looks up and says, I, for one, think that now that we have won this magnificent battle, we should not allow the creatures in the north to brood much more. We should plan a war campaign to retake the borderlands. They are still infested with some of the tribes that chose to stay up there, and goblins and whatnot. Retaking them and then rebuilding the watch wall should be our first priority. Perhaps this will be costly and take a little bit, but certainly it is something worth doing.
Who says that?
Gaius Richter. Mallory, however, sort of snickers and says, but honestly, my lord, I think I have what we need. You see, the treasury is rather empty, and really 10,000 measly gold pieces. There can be made much more. I have several plans that would. So if we, for example, were to lift certain bans on certain things, that would certainly be able to be taxed, and then we could earn a little more. I say we reinstate. With all respect, there is the oldest says, right, the oldest profession in the world has been illegal here for only 100 years.
Oh, slavery.
Not quite.
Not
No,
quite.
prostitution.
Oh.
That's right. Says, I'm sure if the crown would wish to reinstate such a thing and perhaps, earn a pretty amount of taxes on it. Well, so gambling as well, reasonably.
Casual.
And if you wish slaves, it's not something we've seen before, but blood sports certainly always have been a good way to earn money.
The North, we basically got them on our side anyway.
How,
Let me make a few changes to the current laws, and I can make this work very better.
how much would he project the income would rise?
There's thousands at least.
With legalizing gambling and prostitution.
And says, yes.
Ooh, sounds good to me.
Something we could focus on reinstating these policies at the beginning. There might be a little resistance or such, but nothing we can't handle. She just smiles. And think of the money.
Love gold.
Basically.
How much is in the treasury currently?
If
If we spend,
he sort of flicks his wrist and says, a measly 50,000. We're just spending all that on the coronation, though. We'll be broke, my lords. It is, of course, possible to... So he says, many of the peasants here are fat. We could squeeze them for a little more. They don't work anyway.
So we have cement rule, go on a campaign north, nothing, and legalize.
Perhaps we should just... I don't think taxing the people more would work. They already... Many of them have suffered greatly in the war.
Undskyld dem.
Hubert sort of mumbles it from almost below the table. We should allow them a rest. A few good years of peace and quiet would be... Sort of looks outside the window here.
Personally, I agree with him, but,
Sure, it has merits, honestly. Zacharias will nod and basically say as much that what Hubert says.
There's already a lot of change for them to handle.
Yeah,
It is true. Let's win the people over.
Maybe do something that is not seen as outrageous.
help! Crash.
We could build statues. That is nice.
I really doubt we need statues, though.
Oh, we need statues.
Karen is rushing in.
Okay,
If Darians have many statues, perhaps we could have some new ones of the new king. Just
sure.
That would be nice. Wouldn't take too much or too long to do, and just something that people wouldn't object too much to, I think.
Oh my god.
So let's see here. We have cement rule by rooting out opposition amongst the nobles. Go to a campaign in the north. Redecorate.
Well, the campaign in the north is not to start a war. We already have become friends with...
Would be attacking the borderlands,
Yeah.
Well, the borderlands are not the UTAC. The UTAC are on an island, aren't they?
Let's see here.
I need a map.
When Fyrax attacked down here, his army was basically smashed Davarin. There was the ones who followed him mostly down towards Matherin. Then there were the ones who spread out to the borderlands to destroy the other watch keeps. Some of them occupied, and some of them are simply just, full of bugbears and goblins and stuff.
Oh.
Some of them we can just seep down into the heartland where the main sort of breadbasket is of the land, where the plague struck the hardest. So he suggests first to move an army up and retake all of it in a grand campaign of war, and then to rebuild the watch wall keeps and keep this rabble up north. Drive them back, basically. Can't have them there. He does admit that this might be a costly affair.
Well, When he talks about the north, is that all the bugbears or it's the
It
people?
is the savage north.
And who lives there?
Oh, a lot of things. Basically, this whole area here. Which was never... The Kingdom of Telinga was always sort of... Well, I mean, the one you think about when you think Telinga is kind of like...
Yeah.
like so.
Yeah.
Surrounded with the red line.
Yeah,
I think that increasing our income first thing might not be the worst idea, followed by improving the internal stability of the kingdom first of all, and then going on grand campaigns to
yeah, the campaigns
save
are...
everything.
Yeah, they are far away. as far as I'm
Beside, I
concerned.
think the bugbears, when we hear the great fire axe has fallen, they're probably gonna be a little.
Besides, I believe Berthos says that this is not the entirety of the council. We will have added a new few members, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
yes.
they're gonna
So,
love this.
I'm sure they will have thoughts on what we should do as well.
Yeah.
Considerations will not hurt. But after the coronation, we will have the first real meeting.
Yes.
A month after, perhaps.
Seems like a good idea.
Give them time to gather. I believe some of them comes from quite far north.
Yes, and far below. Speaking of which, might we present the one of the new members of the council, Dessiter?
Can he appear on the?
That's what I'm
table?
hoping. That's what I'm hoping here. Yes.
Says, my lords, at your service. I am Dessiter, devil lawyer extraordinaire, for all of your courtly enjoyment. Sort of bows first and drops a few rose petals around himself that he seemed to pick it up somewhere.
They took one of the girls'
Maybe.
little basket.
He picked one of the kids back.
He sort of bows and says, may I have a seat?
Figure nods. Of course, Dessiter, of course. He will
You know the fat guy. He doesn't need a chair.
knock out the fat guy. We will. I
He just sort
mean,
of steps and says, I will of course give room. Don't worry. Take my place, sure. He sort of steps down, sits down, says, oh, but how could I?
oh, no,
The gentleman offering his seat, I cannot take it.
we're
Says,
gonna
let me
have-
get another chair. Says, no, it's quite all right. I will.
It's gonna go on for days now if we don't stop them.
Hubert mumbles. Sort of says, you seem to be quite a gentleman, looking him up and down. And says, quite dashing yourself.
Well, they're getting along famously.
Okay, just sit with hearts on
Fine
our
then.
hearts.
I think
we
was
will-
there.
we'll-
Says Gerrita goes
Hmm.
out to get another chair.
Can't we just smile at this?
We will rearrange this properly at some point. Let's see here. When it comes to the coronation, it's going to be a grand affair. He wants to do it in the Church of Asmodeus. I don't remember if that was the plan from Asurius' side or if he wanted to let Thrain do it in the guise of the of Mithra.
There isn't really an official Church of Asmodeus. It's also something Dessiter will look and say, on that note, actually, I thought perhaps it is about time that we have a true Church of Asmodeus. How can the Royal Council worship a god that is not revered by the people? They don't even have a chance. Of course, a true cathedral should be akin to the one in the north. This says, the Mithrans have one. As I suggest this as our first move, my dread lords, to restate the Asmodean faith and build a grand cathedral. A truly grand project, my lords.
Such a change, a sudden change in the faith, of the kingdom, which has been so deep-rooted for such a long time, it might upset the people further. I have a slight inclination that such changes must come gradually. We cannot
Yes.
simply tear down
My
the
lords.
cathedral on the first day.
After today's events, I don't think there's any people who could get more angry over the construction of a cathedral than they already would be by the murdering in the streets. I saw a man hang from the skin of his neck.
I don't catch
It
on
is-
to
My
that.
sister is working quite hard to please you, I think.
It is different to hang a few dissidents and collaborators, quite another to attack the very soul of the kingdom.
What soul of the kingdom?
The Mithrin soul, the one we are trying to extinguish.
There
But,
is
my
no
lords, building a cathedral right now would be completely implausible. Have you seen the state of our coffers? Let me do some changes first. I can make it much better.
Cash looks at this, and I think it's a great idea to get a cathedral of Asmodeus here.
If nobody dies, then perhaps the people won't object so much to it.
Poor Hubert. I think declaring the Church of Asmodeus the first thing we do is probably a bad move. We should probably keep on the low of that. We have made our statement outside. It's like, yeah, horrible death awaits you if you oppose us, but we haven't torn down the cathedral in front of them yet.
I'm just saying I think it's best that we wait a little with
Yeah.
these decisions.
I think we should
Because-
No decision of final here. It's just something to think about.
when we move to really dismantle the faith, we need to do that in steps. We can't just rip it down.
Marathon sort of just moves around, seemingly to want to say something, but not sure if he's allowed to.
Karen will make a motion, basically telling him that he's supposed to speak.
We should just kill them all and take whatever they have. A grand horde could be constructed for our dragon
Slap him.
lord.
Karen will make another motion while he's still talking, telling him to shut up.
He'll sort of stop and bite it in himself, seemingly not understanding why Chiron wouldn't want this.
Yes, Durfon, your point has been taken. I do agree that
Hubert sort of pales and mumbles something.
I do agree that there's no point playing nice when, well. But perhaps giving them some time to breathe at least might be. Necessary.
The rule, as far as I'm concerned, is here to stay, is it not? We are not a rampaging, marauding barbarian horde. He sort of looks up and down at Jarathon. Even though some people seem to dream such dreams. No, we are here to stay, and we are here to take control, and we do not take control by wanton slaughter every day of the week. As more people scream outside. We use violence to make a point. It is a tool. It is an end. It is not an end, it is a mean. As I think was even said to us so long ago, down in a cellar. That torture should be a tool, not a pastime.
I haven't done that since.
I am more speaking to to our now rewarded devilish friends.
Yes, my lord, I'm not personally into the whole slaughter. I believe that corruption comes from within.
Yes.
Indeed.
And it
Smiles
is,
to a Berethor.
and it is like that we shall also do it. When we announce that the Church of Asmodeus is indeed reinstated, it shall be through that means, not by just kicking down the doors to the royal balcony and screaming it out over the street.
I
This
don't-
needs to be insidious.
Still, some measure must be taken to allow this to be, well, really policy. It would be awkward. Perhaps a first move would be to allow all religions,
I
instead
agree.
of only allowing the Mithrin one.
Nonce.
Would that be subtle enough, do you think?
I
I
think, it's a
think
good start.
that's a perfect start. Let's
It
do
would
it.
take a bit to remove the ban around in different legislations. It is quite extensive. I have taken a look before. But with that done, should really just open more freedoms.
That is fair enough.
Hubert sort of nods slightly and mumbles something else.
Who wouldn't want more freedom?
Indeed. Who?
I agree we should give the people more freedom instead of letting Mifra control everything.
Yes.
Besides, when has Mifra ever given us anything good?
The dwarves will like that. Right
There we go. Hubert is on board. Oh, cheer up, Hubert.
You know, is there any alcohol on the table?
No. There doesn't seem to be
don't-
alcohol at these meetings.
We don't drink at the council meetings.
What a bad taste.
Does she ask for some?
She better stay clean. Even though she would be clean no matter what.
Hawthorne sort of frowns slightly. If we are going to look at these legislations, perhaps I could have my way with the financial orders of things. There are some quite outdated clauses.